With Deadpool being a huge success among critics and fans, and even being recently nominated for a couple of Golden Globes such as Best Actor and Best Picture, didn't win obviously, but we also have some rumors saying that there might be some Oscar nominations thrown in the mix, so of course, there might be a sequel because of that. Because I mean, you guys get it, like you got superheroes, box office, and people just seem to have like a liking towards superhero movies. Of course there's gonna be a sequel. And there seems to be like a little bit of trouble going on with the Deadpool sequel, such as like most importantly, the director of the original Deadpool, Tim Miller, has left the project due to some creative differences, and now the John Wick director, David Leitch, is now taking on the project. Plus, fans wanting Stephen Lang to portray the time traveler Cable because of his age and his body build. Now, I think it was either Hugh Jackman or Ryan Reynolds, they tweeted out a picture where they're sitting together with the former James Bond actor Pierce Brosnan, and they're hinting that he could possibly take that role. But one topic I wanted to cover has nothing to do with those things that I mentioned whatsoever, but it's more of the rumors reportedly that Deadpool is to be having a boyfriend in the next film. Now look, I'm all for the idea of relationships in entertainment, whether it has to be in video games or in film or whatever it may be, for them to reach out to a particular audience in any way, shape, or form. But we also have to remember, how are these relationships going to provide for its story? And I'm sure that all of you guys can mostly agree is that one of the most irritating things that films could do is they give us a relationship that's a subplot, but it has no relevance to the main plot whatsoever, and it results to them having a bit of a structure crisis. We've seen stuff like this happen in film before. For example, like the controversial relationship of Hulk and Black Widow in Avengers Age of Ultron. A relationship just so random and so out there that it ultimately lost focus on what was really going on, being a robot hell-bent to destroy Earth and everybody in it. See, now that is a situation that puts our heroes at risk, and not just the drama that's being placed in the team or them being pitted against each other, but they're just trying to keep the world safe from this T-800 that's on steroids. And yet we get the Hulk and Black Widow scenes and just takes us out of these intense situations, and we ask, like, why does that particular thing need to be in the film? Or better yet, here's a more famous and controversial one: Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala's relationship in the Star Wars prequels. And I get there, like, why there's a relationship in there, because you need to progress the story in the existence of Luke and Leia, but the relationship was poorly executed. Because the fact is, you don't really need intimate relationships to make our characters feel more human or provide more character development, which I'm sure to a certain degree you can argue against that, but you have to find some way to make that right. Now look, I can't see into the future and determine whether if choosing Deadpool to have a boyfriend is like the perfect choice for the film, because stuff like that kind of worries me. Not because Deadpool having a boyfriend or anything, like I have no problem with that idea whatsoever at face value, but story structure wise, that can be a bit of a problem for a character like Deadpool. And I'm sure that most of you guys have seen the film. You guys know how Deadpool acts and how he presents himself, because according to an article, it was confirmed that Deadpool is in fact pansexual, meaning that he has no limitations on any sort of sexual identities. And he absolutely proves that in the film as a means to provide the comedy, because me personally, I found the comedy in Deadpool to be quite hilarious and pretty well executed. Now the thing with the comedy in Deadpool, what makes it so great and so genius, is that in each comedic scene, it does elevate certain plot points and furthers the characters in the film. Whether you like the film or you hate it, there was continuity within the comedy, well, except the leaving the stove on quote. I thought that was kind of dumb and cheesy.
Shit. Did I leave the stove on?
So Deadpool having a boyfriend, like I said, it kind of worries me, because we know how Deadpool is, and having relationships for the sake of comedy can appear to be forced. Yet you can have a relationship that may come across that way, which, just like Deadpool's comedy, can elevate certain plot points and further expand its story structure. Very much like Deadpool's relationship in the previous film, which I've heard some very good and very bad things from both sides of the spectrum, from very different people, but having Vanessa in there and being Deadpool's driving force to actually go out there and be something that he would never dare to be, which is a superhero, provides some very necessary character arcs and progression in the story. Now this is a formula that we have seen millions of times over and over, but the thing is that it works. It does its job it needs to do in the form of having a necessary relationship. Now I'm not in any way saying that Deadpool having a boyfriend is like the worst thing in the world. It's not. But there's actually some really good things to come out of it, such as some really cool speculation that you can come up with in your head. Some of the few questions that I ask is like, okay, is Deadpool and Vanessa still together? And if they're still together, does she know about it? And if she knows about it, is she okay with it? And if they're not together, And then if I don't know, it's if he had a boyfriend. All of these questions start to come in the back of your mind, but I know somewhere deep down, it kind of freaks you out because you don't want Deadpool's relationship drama to really interfere on what's going on with the actual film. Considering that there's gonna be a dude that can time travel in the film, and you're wondering how is he gonna get involved in the X-Men universe, but you'd rather see that than Deadpool dealing with multiple relationships and all that drama. I mean, maybe he'll get together with Cable, I don't know. And just like I mentioned before, guys, like if they incorporate a homosexual relationship between Deadpool and somebody else, just make sure it mends in with the story and actually has a purpose to it. It's a play that just seems to overcome Hollywood nowadays, and it just seems like having a relationship between two characters has to be a necessity and them to meet a requirement to bring in more audience members or to be more politically correct. And when in actuality, all the filmmakers really need to focus on is making a great story and a great film, and eventually all the following will happen. And it's just something to keep in mind and to really discuss because Deadpool is one of the most successful superhero movies of all time. So people like myself, I want to see the sequel be done right. But guys, thank you so much for watching my viewpoints on Deadpool having a homosexual relationship or just the overall idea of relationships in film. And I want to know what your guys' viewpoints on the subject matter and what Hollywood could do to improve upon that. We can have that discussion down below. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all that social media shit down below. Keep in contact with me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, may the force be with you.